Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime and it is time to brawl, and now it is also time for us to talk about the Brawl Stars Championship Challenge that is happening later today and is going to be lasting for another day for you guys to try and get those 15 wins. And we just recently had balance changes and the meta is still kind of shifting around a little bit. I am partnered with brawlstats.com though, and they did send me the win rates and the pick rates for all of the maps going over in today's video for brawlers over 700 trophies. So this is a competitive meta. This is an old screenshot over here, so go to their website if you want to look at their updated stuff right there. But the stats are coming from thousands of matches to determine which brawlers really are the best to help you get these 15 wins. Let's start off with wins 1 through 3, where we're gonna have Stone 4 as the first map. First up is Sprout, and if you're playing with Sprout, you want to use his photosynthesis star power. He's gonna be able to be in the bush. It's gonna shield him like the entire time, and he can block off any of these entrances into this map, which does make him solid. Next is Bo. The reason why you'd want to play Bo is for his circling eagle star power, so you can not only block the entrances into the mine area with his bombs, but also so that you can see into the bushes to know if somebody's going to try and ambush you guys. Next is Jackie, and I actually really like her Hardy Hard Hat star power. Next we have Gene with his Healing Puffs star power. If you're playing Gene, there's a strategy that you want to use. There are two major strategies on this map. The first is where the three of you all want to go into the stone fort, and you're going to want to try and like protect that center and prevent the enemy team from going inside. The other is where you split up. One person goes on the left, one person goes into the middle, and one goes into the right. For Gene, with this star power, you want all three of you to go into the center because he's gonna be able to activate that additional healing for his entire team. It's super solid. Next is Rosa, and that gold frame is going to signify one of the 3 brawlers that I'm going to recommend that you do for a team comp on this specific map. She's so good on this map, especially when she has her plant life star power that helps to keep her alive. And there are so many bushes everywhere. I really like dropping her bushes right here and right here because that's gonna give her easy access into the box. Next is Ems. I'm still a big fan of her bad karma star power. She can be really solid as an anti-tank brawler. And then we also have Tara with the healing shade star power. Next is Pam, the other brawler that I would recommend for this team comp, okay? She's got a very high pick rate. She's got a high win rate as well. And she can put her turret in any of these 4 corners right here to really add a lot of healing to your team. I do prefer her Mama's Hug star power, but Mama Squeeze could be an option on this map. And then of course, lastly, we've got Poco with Da Capo. So for my recommended team comp, we're gonna have Poco, Pam, and Rosa. And once again, you're gonna wanna follow one of 2 strategies. Either all 3 of you go into the center right off the beginning, or you guys split off and do kind of a 3-pronged approach. Which strategy you're going to use is going to depend a lot on the enemy team. If they're playing a brawler that does a really good with like splash damage, like Penny or Jessie, absolutely you're going to want to split up. But if they don't, going straight into the middle is a really excellent option because you got Poco who's able to keep people off on this side, you got Pam who's able to keep people off on this side, and Rose is able to just like hang out right here and prevent people coming in from the top. It's so hard to get into the box like that, and with all this HP and that healing, it's going to be so difficult for the enemy to get rid of you. Wins 4 through 6 are going to be on Snake Prairie for Bounty. Starting off, we got Mr. P. Now he had a very low pick rate. He did have a pretty decent win rate, so he's not the best option, but he can be played. Now I actually do recommend playing Sprout. If you like Sprout, use that photosynthesis star power, so he's going to have that permanent shield. And it's actually going to be a little bit of a struggle at the beginning before the grass here or here is broken, but after the grass is broken, then Sprout can be incredibly good because he can actually stop people from getting too close to him. Next we got Poco with Da Capo. Now I actually would not recommend playing Poco unless you have 2 teammates that are tanky. Next we have Ems, also not the best option, but she can be played. Now we have Piper with her ambush star power. Now in lower trophies, and probably also similar for wins 4 through 6, you're probably not going to see Piper very much, but Piper is actually a very competitive option in higher trophies where brawlers will actually break down these walls right here to the sides so that Piper always knows where they are. And then she has that ambush star power, which is going to allow her to deal a ton of damage. Next is Brock with his incendiary star power. Absolutely a great option to have. Kind of like Piper, you don't see him in lower trophies very often, but he's very competitive in the higher tier. Next, we have Shelly. Okay, now the reason why I included Shelly on here is because she did have a very, very high pick rate, but you'll notice that her win rate is actually below 50%. Above 700 trophies, Shelly does poorly. Now, where we're at only wins 4 through 6, you could probably still play Shelly and do pretty well with it. But I wanted to add a bit of a disclaimer saying that Shelly is not the most competitive option. Our next brawler that I do recommend playing is going to be Bo with that circling eagle star power. Very, very high pick rate. He's just played so much, and it makes sense because he has that ability to see into the grass for long distance. And the other brawler that you're going to want to do is Tara. You could could go with either star power. I like Healing Shade more, but Black Portal is going to help you find enemies, and so that could be an advantage. But the reason why you want to play Terra is because of her gadget. You have 3 opportunities to know exactly where the enemy team is, and that's going to give you a massive advantage when you have Terra paired with Bo, paired with Brock, because Brock's gonna be able to hit those shots from a distance, and you're just gonna be able to take people out. Also, shout out to the old Bo icon. Wins 7 through 9 is going to be in Siege for Factory Rush. Starting off, we got Frank. He's got a normal pick rate, but he has a pretty high win rate. I like his extra health from his sponge star power. And next we got Sprout, a 61.2% win rate. This is one you're definitely gonna wanna use his overgrow star power. That's not a whole lot of bush for him to utilize photosynthesis. Now, first up, we got Gale, okay? He only has a normal pick rate, but that win rate is insane, 61.4%, and that was before his buffs. Gale is incredibly strong in Siege because he can just drop his gadget right here, spring right up to the forward, or right up there, so that as soon as you die, you can just get all of your teammates right back into the center, be able to grab those bolts, and it's gonna make it very difficult on the enemy team. Absolutely play Gale on this map. Make sure he's on your team comp. He is so incredibly good. Plus, he can just push people away with his super. He's one of the 3 brawlers that I'm going to recommend for my recommended team comp for this map. Next, we got Sandy, and that's with the Rude Sand star power, a 59.6% win rate with a high pick rate. That is super excellent. You're gonna drop his super right here. It's gonna protect the entire center. Just make sure you don't use his super when you're either doing a push or when the enemy team is pushing on you, because that's basically a waste, because the Ike turret can see you when you're on offense, and the bot can also attack you when you're on defense, and the enemy team's gonna know where you are anyway. Next is Ems. She can be really solid. Now that her gadget can be used 3 times, she's gonna have a little bit of an easier time against those tankier brawlers. I also do like Piper on this map. You do have to be high skilled. There's not a whole lot of bush. You could use ambush if you're just hiding out right here or right here, but I think that snappy sniping, it provides more value more consistently. Next, we got Brock, a very, very high pick rate. 54.4% win rate is solid for him. I like Incendiary. If you are going to be playing Brock, you want to break these walls down as soon as you can. Even if you're not dealing damage to the enemy team, when your bot is coming down right here, you want him to have easy access in there, and that's just going to allow you guys to funnel in damage right there. Brock is highly recommended. He's not going to be the brawler of choice that I'm recommending, but you can either go with Brock or Penny and be really, really solid. I prefer Penny. I prefer her Balls of Fire star power. I don't feel like Last Blast gets that much value on like the Ike turret or anything like that. I think Balls of Fire is a much better option. You place her turret right here. You place it right here. On offense, definitely go onto the side and drop a turret right here, but only when your team has a boss that is actually coming. And then of course, we got Pam. Okay, Pam, no one can deny how insanely good Pam is for this map. 60.5% win rate with a very, very high pick rate. That is absolutely insane. She can drop her turret to be able to help heal her teammates. She has enough damage to deal with those tanky targets. She can deal a lot of damage to an Ike turret. She can also do a lot of damage to the boss, all while healing up her teammates, and that just makes her really good for control on this map. Next, we got wins 10 through 12, which is going to happen on Hot Potato in Heist. Very lowest, we got Dynamite. I do recommend Demolition unless you're really good with his Dyna Jump star power. The reason why he's not super good is he's not very good on defense. Amazing on offense, not consistent on defense, especially against those brawlers that get really up close to him. For example, Daryl, who I'm actually recommending with the Rolling Reload star power. We also have Nita with her Hyper Bear star power, can work very well. Only a 52.9% win rate, but it can be very solid, especially, you know, you got those 2 uses where you can actually stun an enemy brawler to be able to take them out and kind of recharge your super. However, where you're at wins 10 through 12, chances are you're going to be facing off against more competitive players. We got BB, and I prefer her home run star power. It's going to help her get up close to that safe a lot easier, be able to dodge some of those shots, take out some throwers, possibly even a Rico, which can be really helpful. And then we got Barley with his extra noxious star power. Dealing that additional damage is really great. If you're going to be playing a thrower, Barley is the thrower of choice here, because not only can he deal damage from a distance, he can also take out brawlers that are up close to him, which is one thing that Dynamite cannot do, and that happens very frequently on Heist. Next, we got Colt. Either star power can work. I can understand wanting the additional distance to be able to hit right here. I can also understand wanting the additional speed so you can get here faster. He has a very, very high pick rate, and he's really, really solid, especially now that he has that gadget to help him reload a couple of shots really quickly. But I actually recommend Rico over Colt. bulls because Rico can just go right here and he can shoot in here, bounce shots off right there, or he can shoot off right here, bounce shots off this right. It's so easy for him to defend this entire right half of the map, which makes him so incredibly good. If you're playing Rico, your goal is to deal with those enemy throwers. Next is going to be bull. I could see you going with either star power. I could also see either star power with Rico. I think it's going to come down to personal preference. I prefer bull's shielding star power. I prefer Rico's robo retreat star power, but whichever one you feel most comfortable with, there are times when the other star powers can work incredibly well. And then of course, we also have Brock with incendiary. I recommend doing it just like this. You got Rico over on the right, you got Brock off in the center using incendiary to make sure you know where enemy players are, and you got bull either going off into the center or going over to the left. His preferred way is also to the right if Rico is down, but if Rico's here, bull should go over to the left unless he knows that he can go off in the center and get some couple quick kills. What you do want to be very cautious of though is enemies that do splash damage. You don't want both bull and Brock in the center if you're facing like a Penny or like a Jesse or something like that. And then of course the last 3 wins 13 through 15, where you're going to get those 15 wins, is happening in Brawl Ball Super Stadium. First up, we got Rosa. I prefer her plant life star power. She can be solid. I like Sandy with Rude Sands. You can place that in right here or up here or down here, wherever you're wanting to. Really just wherever the ball is. Jessie with either star power can work. She's got a decent win rate, a pretty high pick rate. I also like Nita. Either star power once again can work. I actually think that Hyper Bear is probably a little bit better because it pairs so incredibly well with Nita's gadget. But the first brawler that I'm going to recommend as one that you're going to want in your team comp is going to be Ems. Either star power really could work. People are playing Hype quite a bit, but I do like the additional damage, and you're wanting Ems to be able to deal with those tankier brawlers. Plus, now she has 3 uses with her gadget. It's less effective, but it still pushes the ball out of people's hands, and that is one reason why Ems is so incredibly good. You can also play B. I like her honeycoat star power because you've got one chance in that Brawl Ball match to basically guarantee that she can walk a ball in, and she actually has a pretty surprisingly high win rate and pick rate. Next, I recommend Jackie with her Hardy Hard Hat star power. Shielding all the damage is so incredibly beneficial. She has a very high win rate right there with a high pick rate. That's super solid. There's so many walls right here that other brawlers are going to try and use to hide, and Jackie eliminates their ability to hide behind those walls, and that's one reason why she's so good. Now, we do have El Primo up here. He has a very high pick rate. He doesn't have the highest win rate, but he can be good. In fact, I would either choose between El Primo with Meteor Rush or Frank with his Sponge star power. I personally like Frank a little bit more because of his ability to break so many walls and stun enemy brawlers and be able to get kill after kill after kill, but El Primo can work incredibly well as well. Frank does have a higher win rate though. This is the setup that I really like, where you've got Ems in the center where her attacks are going to be able to deal a little bit more damage. She has to deal with that range. She's going to be able to take care of those short range brawlers from being able to go down in the center. You got Jackie right up here where if she's able to get into the bush, then that's really good, but if she's not, she can also go off to the side and attack the enemies that are hiding in this bush, and I really like that. Frank can also go over to the left, and honestly, Frank versus Jackie, just whichever one you want to have them on the sides. It doesn't matter necessarily so much which side. I do like Frank a little bit more on this side, and I do like Jackie a little bit more on this side. After that initial setup though, things obviously change and depend a lot on where the ball is actually going to be, but this is kind of like best practice right at the beginning of the match. And that's how you guys are going to get those 15 wins in this championship challenge happening this weekend. Make sure you subscribe for more Brawl Stars content. Let me know how many wins you got in the last challenge, how many you're planning on getting in this challenge. Use code Kairos every day. And for now, guys, this is KairosTime ticking by. We will see you in Brawl Stars.